Everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Brian Good here. Here's the latest update. First off, notice our snow board has changed a bit as far as the snowfall data. 2.7 now. Yay. We're slowly getting there. At 6.2 is where we should be, so we should be over half a foot. Obviously, we are running behind. And last year to date, we had 8 inches of snow to the state. Now, what's ahead for us? Well, we're going to talk quite at length today about the setup for the weekend, and then perhaps another system very similar as we head into February 8th and 9th. Those are the two right now that seem to be at least two that we need to watch. For the snowfall, as I mentioned, 0.3 is what we picked up officially in Louisville. Many of you picked up a good solid half-inch to a little more than that. Not quite an inch, but just under it. Say to the east of us, Frankfort into Lexington. As I mentioned before, that puts us at 2.7 now for the season. So what's ahead for us today? Well, the cloud cover's out of here, so that's good. We got some bright sunshine to enjoy. Clouds will roll back in later on today as we get that southwest wind to really kick in. A front will move in, though, later on toward the period here is into Wednesday. Now, there will be some increasing clouds tomorrow, but still with that southwest flow, we should get into lower 50s. The front is going to try to squeeze out some moisture with it. It looks to be more of an issue of sprinkles during the day and maybe a snow flurry at night if it has enough moisture to work with. We will fine-tune the details on that. It will begin to drop our numbers down, though, for the latter half of the week, which then sets us up for the setup for the upcoming weekend. Here is a look at the upper air pattern. This is 500 millibars on the GFS, and right here is Kentucky and the Ohio Valley. Our energy that we're going to be tracking is actually way up here into Alaska. It is going to wrap around a low that will be moving into the picture in a few days in the Eastern Pacific, and then throw out a ripple into our neck of the woods. So there's a lot of turning and twist and so forth that little piece of energy for the weekend has to go through before it's even on the maps and really gets a good amount of data to be sampled into the model. So we've got several more days of wild changes here in the model, so don't get caught up in the details. The goal for me today for you all is just to give you the overall setup of what we're looking at, and then we'll trend it from there. All right, so this is the way it's looking. As we head into the middle portion, latter portion of the week here, Wednesday and Thursday, it's basically a zonal flow. The flow, again, coming straight in from the west over the Rockies. So that's keeps temperatures usually average when you get that kind of a setup. The energy now is already been pulled in. It's already wrapped around Alaska, and here it is, beginning to get wrapped up into that low. And then as we head into Saturday, you will then begin to see that energy now moving into the lower 48. It's already been thrown in and creates a dip into the plains. Now, it's not a significant low, but it is a decent enough of a ripple that as it heads into the Ohio Valley, we need to keep an eye on it. Very odd setup here. It's not a setup where it's just moving out of the southwest or a clipper from the north. It's kind of rolling in the zonal flow and then tugging on the jet stream as it rolls on by. Typically in these setups, rain is usually favored, okay, because you don't have a lot of Arctic air ahead of this system. The depth of cold air is going to be the biggest issue this system is going to have. And if you go by climatology, what usually happens, rain is a good bet for our area. But having said that, you'll have to change the atmosphere a few degrees and you get a different outcome. So it's still in that iffy stage until we get fine-tuned details. Let me give you a map setup. The light blue line is the temperature at 32 degrees or freezing at the surface. The dark blue line is the rain-snow line aloft. Again, you can be in the upper 30s at the ground level and still have snow falling. The temperature aloft is just as important as the temperature in the ground level. So here we are on Saturday. We're dry, no problems during the day. No issues. Saturday night into Sunday. Notice the freezing line and the rain-snow line both to our north. So at this point, if you take it face value, the model would go, this is the GFS we're looking at, we'll go with an idea of it being rain to start with. But that 32-degree line, the freezing line at the surface is what I'm more concerned about for Saturday night. May be a lot closer to Louisville. May be more of an issue for Indiana, but it's going to be a close call. Then as we head into Sunday, the rain-snow line and the freezing line, mainly close to I-70. Dose of decent rain locally. But here's the situation where the cold air aloft we need to watch, because this is indeed going to be a heavy precipitation event in spots. We could find ourselves into a dynamic cooling kind of a setup where it can pull down the colder air and you can get that blue line to get pushed down further to south if it's heavy precipitation. If it's light precipitation, don't see it happening. Heavy precipitation, different story. As the low wraps by, it's showing it, collapsing behind it, but keep in mind a lot of the moisture then is already moving out by the time that collapses, so it's kind of misleading looking at the map, but it would likely end as snow anyway as it pulls away. When you look at the ensembles and the actual model runs of the GFS, this GFS, Euro, and the Canadian, The white line is typically the rain-snow line on the operational, and this is going to be on Sunday. Look where it is. Right, if you look carefully, it's hard to see. Right over Louisville, right over Louisville, right over Louisville. Then you look at the ensembles for some help. It's right over Fort Knox in E-Town, right over Trimble County on the Euro ensemble, and right over Louisville on the Canadian. So the rain-snow line on the models at this point is averaging between Fort Knox, E-Town, to about Trimble County, which means Louisville's on the zone of iffiness. But if you go by what typically happens in this scenario, which is basically all we got to go by, models in the history of our weather and these events, it's more likely going to be a rain deal. The analogs are indicating any chance for measurable snow at this point would be just to our north in this kind of a setup. Well, I'll keep an eye on those as we get more data on that. And then I will mention, as we head toward the 8th and 9th of February, another system rolls in. This one would be one that tracks mainly across the south and then goes up the coast. The GFS is more dramatic with it. The ensembles, though, are just as dramatic. So this could be, at this point, a rain to snow deal if I had to pick it out. But we got our hands full with just trying to figure out the weekend system. Let's give it a couple more days. Snow lovers, hang in there. Between now and then, not a bad forecast.